Hi, this is Potpourri. I just want to tell you that this is a video series to help you decide if raising backyard chickens for egg production is right for you and your family. I'll also discuss all the things you need to consider to raise healthy egg layers. I really hope you enjoy the series. Today's video we're going to talk about coops. What do you need for your chicken coop? And as a way of introducing it, here is a beautiful golden Wyandotte. Can you see all that beautiful gold feathers? She isn't completely happy being in this video, so I'll just keep her in here for a little bit. But today we're going to talk about coops. So I'm filming this video in my chicken run, so excuse me if it's a little darker than normal, but I did think it was appropriate. Now, you've gotten chickens, you got them in the brooder, and you got to think about what are you going to put them in when you take them outside. Do you have a coop? And you know what? There's a lot to consider. And you can go very economical, or you can really go all out, okay? I suggest, if it's your first time raising chickens, not to go the real expensive route, because you want to make sure that chicken raising is right for you. Now, if you're free ranging your chickens, you don't need this run like I'm in. You just need your coop probably. And if you're using a chicken tractor, which is basically a coop and run that you move from place to place, this video isn't for you. There's plenty of videos on chicken tractors. But this video, we're talking about what do you need for a coop and possibly what do you need for a run. Now, you may decide to purchase a pre-built coop or build your own. Here, the Spruce features 13 coops to build. And I mean, there's a variety of different plans. Now, also, YouTube has a lot of videos on do-it-yourself, building your own chicken coop. So here's one I particularly like. It's April Wilkerson. She has a 3-part series on how to build a very easy-to-clean chicken coop, which personally I think is very, very important. Now, when I started out, I purchased a relatively inexpensive coop, and then I found out how many things I hated about it, right? So here's the old coop. The dimensions were, the run was 94 inches by 70 inches, and the coop itself was 49 inches by 70 inches with 4 nest boxes on the back. And you can see that the roof is a tarp that I put on with zip ties, and when we got it, the whole run was just chicken wire on top, and it would always get wet and very messy. So I rigged up this tarp. You will also notice that it just had chicken wire, and I didn't feel that that was secure enough, so I put up hardware cloth all around the edge. Notice this door enclosure right here. This often would swell or just the opposite, and it was very hard to line it up. So I would have to put this tie all the way through and try to secure it. And I was always worried about predators because, believe me, we have a lot of raccoons in the area. Okay, the main thing that bothered me personally about the coop was very often I'd be carrying something going out and wham, I hit the back of my head so many times. I had, I think, almost permanent bloody patches on it. Now, you'd think I'd remember, but when you're busy doing something, I guess you just don't. So inside you will notice that other than the chicken door, there's no way to open it up for cleaning. And the roost would often get me. I think I'm all the way under, and wham, I got it on my back. Roost can't be removed unless you'd unscrew it. And then back here, other than the chicken door, there's no way to get in to clean it from the inside. Then the other problem was under here, it goes back for, wow, the whole width of the coop, and it's a lot of area for the chickens to get into, and really hard. You have to scrape way over and go underneath it to clean, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. So I had a custom built coop that worked for me. I had it built in a existing dog run. So your appearance can be very important if you're in the backyard chicken type route and you have neighbors on either side and behind you. You want it to look pretty nice. But you might also not have that, have plenty of land, and you want to do a very inexpensive coop. I suggest you search for pallet coops because there's a lot of very inexpensive ones made from used pallets. And they're rather clever designs too. Family Handyman has 14 charming chicken coops for your backyard. I mean, look at some of these, they're darling. There may be some cost for the plans, but you might want to check out this link. All these links are below if you are interested. Now, when you're getting a coop or designing your coop, what are you looking for? Well, one of the things you're looking for is it easy to get your eggs out? Okay? Is it relatively easy to clean? That can be very important. And how convenient is it? I mean, you might want an automated chicken door where they go in at night and come out in the morning, or to have an automated water or feeder. There's various things that you might decide is important to you. So think of those before you go building your own coop or purchasing one. Now, one of the things to consider too is location of your coop. Especially if you're in the south, you want to put your coop in a shaded area, because actually heat is more detrimental to your chickens than cool weather or cold weather. You also want to think about how far is it from your house. Now, personally, I think it's a good idea to have it a bit of a distance from your house so you don't smell it, because sometimes they can get smelly, right, when it rains outside. But how far do you want it, especially in winter, if you want to trudge through snow to be able to get those eggs and take care of those chickens every day? Another consideration is if you want electrical. You got to figure out then how far you are from that. And you might say, why would I need electrical? Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Now, something in location, you'll hear a lot about it needs to be quiet for the hens. That if it's too noisy, it can disturb their laying. I've never had that problem. Maybe it's because they were raised in a noisy, bathroom where you're flushing toilets and you're talking to them and there's water running and all kinds of different noises from the family. They have never had a problem out here in the coop, even when we had handyman working on stuff or someone's mowing the lawn. They have been completely fine. So you do have to think about spacing. If you have the standard breeds, they each need about 2 square feet in the coop and about 3 to 5 feet in the run square feet. Now, if you are having the bantam breeds or the little smaller breeds, they won't need as much space. One of the things you might consider is maybe you're only going to have 5 chicks, so 5 hens. So you build a coop for that. But you know what? You decide you really got into it and you'd like to have this breed chick and this breed chick, then gosh, you wish you would have a little extra space. So I always say plan your coop a little bit bigger than the actual flock you have. You have to think about flooring in your coop too. Now, most people do not have it right on the ground. They elevate it because of predators, but some do have it right on concrete, and some have it on actual soil floors, but a lot of them elevate and have wooden floors. I don't know if you can notice, but under here, I've just laid a piece of linoleum. Hopefully this will make this area easier to clean and disinfect. And if it gets to the point where I can't really clean it well, I can just put in another piece of linoleum. Now, you still probably want to put down some bedding on the floor. And you can use pine shavings. Never use cedar shavings. Those are supposed to be toxic. But you can use pine shavings or straw, something of that nature. There is a lot written about how important it is to have ventilation for your chicken coop. And I think a lot of that is written with the idea of the very hot south. My chicken coop only has a door that pulls up and down. There's no other ventilation in it, and I consider that better for the winter months. But I do have a very spacious attached run where that's where the chickens spend most of their time. So of course, that is very well ventilated. Chickens are most comfortable between 40 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. But a lot of people put in windows and vents. But if you do, make sure they're covered with 1/4 or 1/2 inch hardware cloth, because you want to keep predators out. Many people say a good rule of thumb is for 1/5 of the total wall area of your coop be windows or vents. Now, insulation. Should you insulate your coop if you do live in Michigan or Alaska or wherever? I'm going to tell you, I think probably not. I've had negative 15 degrees here and my hens have been fine. I did purchase the right breed for cold. And you know, my husband made a very good point. He said, well, what do the sparrows do? What do the other birds do when it gets that cold? They all seem to live just fine without insulation. So I think that's true, and you have to be careful. You don't want your chickens ever pecking and eating the insulation, which they have been known to do. Now here's a picture of a roost. The rule of thumb is to allow 8 inches of roosting bar per hen, and chickens prefer to sleep flat-footed. So using a 2x4 with a 4-inch side facing up really works well. As you can see, this just fits into a slot, so I can easily get it out, and that will make cleaning a lot easier. And you want to think of the height of your roost. You know, they can jump 12 inches or so up, but if it's higher, you want to give them a little ramp to get up to it. And you know, if you have multiple layers of roost, you have to be careful, because you know what they say about pecking order? Well, it's true. The most desirable is the highest roost. So if you have more than one roost, make sure there's space so when that hen on that high roost poops, it doesn't get on the hen below it. Okay, here's my nest box. I actually bought one, but you can use just about anything you can think of for a nest box. It could be a kitty litter box. It could be a 5-gallon pail. I mean, there's all kinds of things to use. I just suggest that wherever your nest boxes are, they're easy to get at and not have to go into the coop or run to get your eggs. Now, they always say you should only have 3 to 4 hens per nest box. Well, I have 7 hens and I only have 1 nest box. They all lay their eggs in there, and before I have seen 2 hens at the same time laying eggs. It has never created a problem, because I really only have one area where I can put it that I can easily access the eggs. Now, if you are making or repurposing your own nest boxes, just remember they should be about 12 to 14 inches square, and they should be in a darker or quieter area of your coop. But again, to me, convenience is the most important. I just want to stick my hand in and grab those eggs outside. You have to be careful of predators, and you have to make sure that your coop and your run is as much predator proof as you can, because it seems like everything loves to eat chickens. You really should raise your coop 12 to 18 inches above the ground. That is so something can't easily get into it, and it also gives your hens a little bit of resting area underneath that might make them safe from a predator. Now again, for predator proof, make sure your run is covered in hardware cloth. Like I talked about, your doors and your vents, windows, those areas are also covered in that hardware cloth. And inspect the perimeter. A lot of animals, like a weasel for instance, can dig under your coop edge if you have a soil bottom and get up into your coop area. Raccoons are amazing for the different latches that they can open. So you have to have a spring latch, something that will prevent a raccoon from being able to do it, get in, and just killing off your entire flock. And this is what I'm talking about for a spring hatch. You see how you have to pull it back and get it up? It has to be something that, as far as I know, raccoons have not figured out. And if you do have a run, I suggest you have a roof. I have a metal roof. The reason being that chicken hawks, other predators, come in from over above, right? So this way you're completely protecting your hens from any predators on the outside. So here's a picture of my run. At the tallest part here, it is, well, let's see, I'm 5 foot. It's probably about 9 feet tall. And my first chicken coop, remember I told you the one I didn't spend much money from? Well, the run was that every time I would get in and start to get out, I'd hit my head on the doorway area. I mean, I had welts here. You think I'd learn, but no, I didn't. I did it so often, and I'm only 5'1". So my requirement was that my husband, who's 6'1", or myself could easily get into this run and not hit our head. So think about that when you're designing your run and your coop. Now in your run, my run has, like I said, it was a dog run. There's already concrete there. I use pine shavings on top. I tried straw, and I found that the combination of the straw and the poop and whatever else was in here almost made like a cement-like substance that was really hard to get off the concrete. So I like to have pine shavings. Other people use shredded leaves or other things that are available to them. It's completely up to you what you use. Now I use the deep cleaning method, which means that I only clean my run every maybe 6 months about. So it's about twice a year. So I'll be doing it this month, getting it completely cleaned out. It'll go for further composting in my woods before I put it in my garden. But a lot of it is naturally composting right here. It just lay another layer of bedding when it gets dirty. Now we talked about why do you need electrical? Well, something I use in the winter that comes in really handy is a heated water. You know, I just plug it in and I don't have to worry about my water freezing up in the winter. But that might not be a concern from you if you live further south. Some people want their chickens to lay all winter long, so they put in a lamp in the coop to give them light so they'll continue to lay. So again, you need electrical. Or maybe you're actually raising your chicks in the coop itself and you need to be able to have a heat lamp. There's a variety of reasons why you would want electrical. The other one is maybe you want an automated door. If that's true, then you want an electrical outlet also. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. We have more videos to come. And I hope this gives you the confidence to raise backyard chickens in your yard. Do you want to say goodbye? Say goodbye? I guess she doesn't really want to say goodbye.